Hello. So today is Wednesday, the 22nd of April. I'm just here outside the back garden of the center. It's a little cold, windy, but so beautiful. So I thought we'll come outside and be with you. And good evening, everyone. So this is again Achan Sujan from Warapunya Meditation Center, Scotland. Here, coming to you at your home. And I hope you all enjoying this beautiful weather. Beautiful weather for a couple of days. And after that, again, we will go back to normal. Windy, cold, damp, but lucky enough that we are having beautiful days now. And also thank you very much for the comments and also some thoughts and reflections that I received. I will read out one particular which was from Colin, and he said that he was not following for a couple of days due to he was busy. So chilly. Due to his busy work. So he writes this way: sorry for not being in contact with you. I have been observing what my friends are going through, mostly anxiety. So I think this is quite obvious that in this time of the lockdown and so much thing going on and uncertainty, quite a number of people experiencing this anxiety. And Colin further says, my conclusion is that their mind is controlled by delusional thoughts. Now, delusional thought, okay, it is important. And then further he says, causing desire, expectations, and when these thoughts are not fulfilled, their mind steps into another mindset of disappointments, anger, and frustration, which is the main cause of anxiety. And I think this is again, I've been referring quite often following the previous nights, that because of the uncertainty and situation is very uncertain, we do not know what's going to be, and there will be so many thoughts of wanting to do this, wanting to do that, and then not fulfilling them, and which is again another reason we can see in America. There are some demonstrations against the lockdowns too, and which is again understandable, their freedom. And again, this is based on a culture, that the culture of rights and freedom, and which is the would say a main cause that people in the West finding it difficult to follow the instructions and feeling that they are locked down and not able to go out and work, and they are demonstrating in a form of their rights to be, and the rights to go out, and the rights to be sick, and their rights to be dead too. And with that rights, again, because of the cultural difference, we can see the difference between the West and in Asia as well. In Asia, they were so strict, and culturally they are kind of following the government instructions, and also people are quite sensible towards this virus spreading. And as a result, we can see that although Asian countries are relatively poor, but their response towards this spreading the virus and lockdown pretty much serious, and they are doing quite a sensible thing, and which is the cause that many death appear in the West compared to the East. So in Asian countries there are very less people, or in a way it's 0.011 or something percent of people affected or getting this virus, whereas in the West we are getting every day, and quite a significant number of deaths is coming too. So again, this is the another reason which also we can see the frustrations and resentments and things, and but again, not knowing what is also causes the trouble. And whereas in Asia, the cultural difference that they always homegrown, they will keep the culturally living at home. Okay, so I do understand that there's frustrations and anxiety. And what Colin further says that I simply say to them, enjoy your freedom. Enjoy your freedom. And here, enjoy your freedom of not doing anything, not having to do anything, and all what you have is home holiday, or holiday at home, that I have said a couple of nights ago, that you got a holiday, beautiful holiday at home, although it's not a holiday that you wish for, but the holiday that you have to do nothing. And I also mentioned a couple of the nights ago that when we were working before the virus spread, people were complaining that they didn't have time for the family, they didn't have time for cleaning the house, they didn't have time to stay with their families. And now you have got this chance, you have got this opportunity to stay with your family, and also have opportunity to clean your house or any other jobs that you would like to do. You are free to do so. And again, if you are working, then again you're paid. So you're paid as well as you have to do nothing and enjoy the home, bringing yourself at home and enjoying the moment that you have. Okay, so that's why enjoy your freedom. And then he further say, enjoy to breathe. So breathing every day and aware of that breath every night, and keep smiling. Smile this moment that you have, enjoy this moment that you have. Do not waste your time enjoying it. And the further at the end he says, delusion is a powerful tool. Now delusion is a powerful tool. When you look at the delusion, again, that is the main root cause of all the troubles. Good morning, good evening, Ranjani. So this delusion is the main root cause of a lot of troubles. So what we need to do is to use this time skillfully, and understanding the way we are in this difficult situation. Every moment that we have, one day at a time, one breath at a time. But we do not know but what is going to be. All what we know is each breath that we take, each time what we have, and this is the only matter at the moment. And we can see the death roll is increased in UK as well, in America, in a Western country, and it's very sad to know. At this moment, what we can do is to enjoy the weather, enjoy the life. When there is someone, I was asked, what do I deal with this situation? And I simply say, I deal with it every day, just one at a time, one day at a time. Enjoy every day. And if possible, whoever is in a vulnerable state, don't forget to give them a call and say hi, hello. this evening, about 5 o'clock, I rang to speak with one of the very old lady that I have known for probably 10, almost 15 years. She came from Thailand after the Second World War. Her stories are so impressive. And after she came, she went through the ration period, the difficult time of having the food and lining up for food, and everything was just a rebuilding time. During that time, she even mentioned that she couldn't speak English, and yet she strived and had to line up for the rations, and then lined up for all the other materials for the house. And during that time, the prejudice of Asian and British were still strong, but she managed to get by during that time. And the story was so interesting that compared to her time after the Second World War and compared to now, her expression is that it's still luxury during this time. You can go out and buy something, and you still can go and enjoy the weather in the parks, walks, and these things. So I rang and spoke with her, and then just tried to find out how she is doing, and ask her whether she normally do the chantings or not, and whether she has got any visitors or not. She sadly said that only 1 or 2 times a week her daughters visits for maybe an hour, and that's the only moment she speak, and the rest of other days she doesn't speak to anyone. She's living alone. Now she is 91, and the way she was expressing that, I'd say, so sad, and this is, I think, this is what's going on at this moment too, because of the lockdown, and because you have to keep the social distances, and plenty of other our senior members or your grandparents are facing this difficult time, missing family members, and not able to speak to anyone. So that's what I think. This is the one we need to think and make a call or pay a small visit if possible, with all the measures need to be followed. And I asked her about the evening before go to bed and after she wakes up, and she said that normally she do the chanting before she goes to bed, and asked her to recite the chantings. She was able to recite, although it wasn't correct, but pretty much she was able to recite, and asked her to accept the 5 precepts and do the chanting along with me. And as I did the chanting along with her on the phone, I could hear the cries. She cried at the end of the chanting and said that it is so good that I haven't heard chanting for such a long time, and now it makes her feel so joy and happy, and it's so great to have this kind of a reminder of the chanting. So if you are doing again and again continuously this chanting, and as a habit, although you're doing just for a couple of minutes, but if you're doing it as a habit, then gradually it generates the mindset of that you can do it during the time when you really need it. This again brings me stories from the time of the Buddha as well, that sometimes when we meditate, or sometimes when we want to do good things, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do good things. But when it's bad things, then it's easy to go and do it, because it entertains us, right? So, and in relation to the practice of a meditation again, people would like to practice too. There are people would like to go on and do it. But when they go on with the different rituals and the different ways to find the way to practice it, normally they feel frustrated and give up. And this is simply because we have a desire. We have a desire to be enlightened at once. We want to have rice on a plate as soon as we think of a rice, like an instant result of that. Whereas if we really want to have a rice, then we have to cook it properly in a washing a rice and sufficient water, and joining the electric or fire, and with the sufficient heat and time, rice will be ready. So it takes quite a bit of time to get ready the rice too. And sometimes if you never practice it again, if you never cooked the rice again, it will be difficult to have the right amount of the water in and the right amount of the heat to cook the rice. And this is what the practice of a meditation too. It takes time, but that doesn't mean that there isn't the result of the practice. There will be, but continuation and persistent dedication will bear a result at the end. So once you have learned how to practice, then you have to continue going on with that, and only then you will be able to realize what the teachings and what the benefit of the practice. Otherwise we simply do not know. We simply do not know, and we have to continue practice it. Until then we will realize that. So it's very important. And the story that one of the gentlemen, he was hello Manuri, he was a businessman, and he had a great faith in Buddhism, and he always gave a dana to the monks, venerable monks. And one day he wanted to acquire more merits, so he asked the monks that how could he generate more merits, and that brings happiness. And the monks introduced him to go and practice of so-called chanting and going to the temple quite often. And he did that quite often, and along with that he began to did more danas in different occasions. And further up, he again went up to the monks and said, I want to gain more merits. So then he was asked to practice the 5 precepts strictly, and he did it too for a couple of weeks. And a couple of weeks later he felt so great that he was able to practice according to the 5 precepts. And again he went on to ask the monks further instructions, and then he went on to practice, and then the monks told him that he should become a monk. So he became a monk, and after he became a monk, again he was engaged along with the monastic activities, and along with that he was given instruction from the all the rules and all the things that he should be doing and he should not be doing. And he felt like that he was like in a prison. He cannot do anything, after he became a monk, because there are so many certain rules, and particularly for the monks there are 227 rules to follow. And apart from that 227 rules, there are other etiquettes that monks has to follow, which is not included in the patimoksha, the rules. And he felt very, very hard to be a monk and practicing in accordance with the Buddha's rules and regulation. He thought that he is in prison, right? He thought he is in prison, like in prison. So he thought he would rather go back and be a lay person and practice at home, which he felt more freedom than being a monk, and practice for the greater happiness. So he thought like that, and after thinking like that, so he neglected his duties. So he was neglecting his regular duties of going for alms, chantings, and monastic works. And when he was asked that time, then he said, well, I'm not interested, I'm going to disrobe and going back home, and I will practice from home. And he felt like being at home more suitable and comfortable and freedom to practice than at the temple. So, and the story goes on that saying he was taken to the Buddha, and then a Buddha told him that, well, if you're thinking that these rules are very strict and like in a prison and not able to do anything, then can you do one thing? Can you do one thing? And this monk said, oh yes, one thing is not problem. I've already done so many things already. Even if this being a monk practicing these 227 rules, one thing is simple for me. It's okay. So then Buddha gave one instruction, that is, it says, be mindful of your mind. So be mindful of your mind, no matter what you're doing, no matter whatever situation you are in. Just maintain ability to be mindful and keep it on a track. So mindfulness, so being mindful is the key. Doesn't matter what we are in, which state we are in. Doesn't matter whether we are in a temple or at home. And especially in this time of isolation and living in one place for such a long period of time, obviously this is a human nature that the chemical change takes place in accordance with the weather, with the condition, with the environment, with the situation. And that generates the frustrations, anxiety, resentments, and some crash. Yes, if you are living together, you've been married for maybe 10-15 years, but you never stayed together for such a long period of time, 24/7 days. You may have stayed together 24/7 days for 1 or 2 days, but the rest of other time you stay only for the lunch or the dinner or for the night, and then once you wake up you go to work, and you do not see each other for maybe 7 or 8 hours. And with that you were able to find the balance in your life, and that's how you get on with each other, and there is possibility of saying forgiveness and forgiving each other. And that's how you're finding this imbalance. In that imbalance you're finding a balanced life. But whereas now you have to stay together, you have to stay together for 7 days, 24/7 days. You have to engage with every physical action and every emotions. And this time there will be other thoughts may arise, that why this is not, why this is that. And with that friction arises, frustration arises, resentment arises, anxiety arises. And in this situation it's not healthy if we are not mindful of it, and we are reacting along with our emotions, along with our feelings. So whenever this situation arises, be mindful. Ability to know your mind, any situation, any moment, whenever it arises. I cannot deny that when you are living together there won't be any trouble. There will be. All what is needed is be mindful and how to deal with that together for the better and happy family. So I offer this as a reflection for tonight, and wish you all the best. May you be happy and peaceful, and may you be safe and take care. We will have meditation, evening chanting and meditation in a few minutes time. You're most welcome to join. In the meantime, if you have any questions you would like to ask, you're most welcome to ask, or any reflection, you're most welcome to text and post me, and we'll go on and see. Okay, and don't forget to come back again. We'll at 7:30 if you're not continuing for the chanting, and if you're not again able to continue tonight, don't forget to come back tomorrow at 6:30. So I will be here with you at 6:30 to share and to be with you and to be friend with you and to comfort. Okay, so with this, may you be happy, peaceful. May the Buddha bless you, and good night. Right, okay, I thought I will give you a little tour before I go back to the room for the chanting. Okay? Right, so okay, so this is the evening. It's beautiful, still beautiful today. This is a Buddha statue. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Lisa, Manisha, thank you for your comment. So this is our temple, Tibetan. This is a Tibetan flags. So this is the center. That's a Buddhist flag. These are daffodils. So this is our small center. And this is Martin, temple boy, Dekwat. Dekwat, he's training to be a monk from Aberdeen. Shaking her head is like not sure. Okay, thank you everyone. We'll see you in a few minutes for the chanting and meditation. Good night.